The cloud that floats on high o'er hills and dales, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils.
Just because you're big doesn't mean you're heavy. Like Kellogg's Rice Krispie Squares, a mega mouthful that's crucially light.
Well, yeah, I'll say.
They're big, not heavy.
You're pathetic, really pathetic.
What?
Nothing, forget it.
I don't want to forget it.
Forget it.
Right show, wrong attitude. Monday at 9, Liverpool 1. You're driving in your car. You're in an accident. You're not to blame. But now, you're a killer.
Being happy with my child. There's no way you can describe that.
This is real life.
I believe that I've taken somebody's life. Well, I've murdered somebody.
This is real life.
I should feel guilty for it.
Drivers Who Kill. It can only be real life. Every week, a new film from Britain's best documentary makers. Monday at 10, ITV.
The South Bank Show is here in 15 minutes after the news.
Hague goes on the offensive with his common sense revolution. Theft inside the palace, police investigating tonight. And Chelsea deal United their worst defeat in 3 years.
From ITN, the ITV Weekend News with Andrea Catherwood.
Good evening. The Conservatives will tomorrow launch their so-called common sense revolution, the policies designed to put them on course for the next general election. Today, William Hague insisted squabbles between former party leaders won't overshadow the start of the Tory conference. From Blackpool, our political editor, Michael Brunson, reports.
Blackpool, a town that holds plenty of memories for William Hague, of that famous schoolboy speech, for example, 22 years ago.
First time I came, I stayed in the Queen's Hotel.
And at a time when other political parties have shunned the place, Mr Hague was reassured as he drove into town by signs of welcome.
Well, Blackpool welcomes the Conservative Party conference.
Now, as leader, he must revive his party's fortunes. To do so, he'll unveil tomorrow what he's calling the common sense revolution. I asked him for more details. What, though, does the phrase common sense revolution mean? What is what is that meant to embody?
Policies based on the common sense instincts of our party and of the people of this country. People know that what they heard in from Bournemouth last week just doesn't correspond with what's happening in real life in Britain.
Tomorrow's policy document will include a crackdown on welfare abuse, penalising those who make false claims or who work secretly while claiming benefit, plans to give parents the power to vote on head teachers' performance if they think they're doing a poor job, and new rules to ensure major NHS operations are given precedence over less serious cases. The party chairman has high hopes for both the document and this conference, but aren't his efforts being undermined by the refighting of old battles, with the publication, for example, of John Major's memoirs?
Very interesting row and argument it is, but it's not going to affect my job, which is to look to the future.
There will also, during this week, be savage attacks on Tony Blair. He seems to have become, for this party, even more of a hate figure than Neil Kinnock was. Today, the party chairman, Michael Ancram, described Mr Blair's conference speech last week as sick-making. Michael Brunson, ITN, Blackpool.
An investigation is underway tonight into a theft at Buckingham Palace. Newspaper reports claim items were taken from the private office of the Princess Royal. Here's Andrew Simmons.
Precisely what has gone missing from a private office in Buckingham Palace is being kept confidential. Scotland Yard has confirmed that a theft inquiry has started with no arrests so far, while a newspaper has reported that it was the Princess Royal's private office where the theft took place and the room wasn't locked.
All a Buckingham Palace official would say is this is a matter for Scotland Yard. While there are no doubts about personal protection for the royal family here, this theft does raise new questions about security precautions within private areas of the palace.
And tonight, security experts said it sounded like an inside job.
And the main suspect probably would be internal staff, either staff of the palace or people working within the palace premises.
Unless you make it a prison, then no place is secure, no home is secure, but you can take sensible precautions. But none of those precautions will ever totally eliminate the chance of someone making an opportunist theft.
Tonight, with no question of a break-in, that appears to have been the conclusion of Buckingham Palace officials. There is no word of a security review, but by calling in the police, the royal household clearly intend to bring the thief to book. Andrew Simmons, ITN, Buckingham Palace.
Children as young as 3 will be set targets in work and play under controversial government plans unveiled tomorrow. The new early learning goals say children should be writing their names and reciting the alphabet by the age of 6, as Tim Wilcox explains.
Following recent government advice for parents of older children, tomorrow's guidelines are aimed at the very youngest, outlining the emotional and social skills expected from toddlers as young as 3. The early learning goals are expected to set out more than 60 skills that children should master through structured and focused play activities. The child guidelines say that by the age of 3, children should be able to count to 3 and develop manual dexterity. By the time they're 4, toddlers should be playing more elaborate counting games. By 5, children should be able to recite the alphabet and count to 10. And by the time they are 6, children should be dressing themselves and be able to write their names. But some think the guidelines too rigid.
They could be turned off learning altogether, that they could see themselves as failures at a very early age, and this actually could be damaging for all their life chances and their future life, their self-esteem and their whole belief in themselves.
But the government has rejected criticism that the guidelines are too prescriptive and narrow in their approach. It says that unless nursery activity and play is structured properly, children will not develop the skills needed to succeed in life or at school. Tim Wilcox, ITN, at the Department for Education.
Officials in the breakaway Republic of Chechnya say at least 28 people, many of them children, have been killed in raids by Russian warplanes. They claim hundreds more are injured. Russian troops have moved into Chechnya to create a so-called security zone. Islamic militants in the Republic are blamed for a wave of terrorist bombings in Russia. Football, Manchester United were today knocked off the top of the Premiership after a comprehensive thrashing by Chelsea. United lost 5-0. Tonight, Leeds are on top of the league. They beat Watford 2-1. Here's Peter Staunton.
The start couldn't have been more sensational. Just 28 seconds on the clock. Gustavo Poyet on the end of a cross. The United goalkeeper Taibbi making another embarrassing mistake. And then it was 2. This time, Taibbi stayed put and was beaten by Chris Sutton. At last, a goal from the man Vialli paid £10 million for. Sutton, too, was looking pretty relieved. The confrontation which followed was started, no surprise here, by Dennis Wise, with a savage assault on Nicky Butt. But his manager could hardly believe the indiscipline which followed. Butt was off, Wise remarkably stayed on. United collapsed after the break, Poyet following up a Leboeuf shot that Taibbi couldn't handle. And then Henning Berg forced into giving away an own goal. And finally Morris firing one through the keeper's suspect legs. United's charge towards another title temporarily on hold. So for the moment Leeds are on top. Michael Bridges giving them the equaliser at Watford. The winner coming from Harry Kewell with the help of a lucky deflection which left the keeper stranded. Peter Staunton, ITN Sport.
In the remaining Premiership games, Newcastle beat Middlesbrough 2-1, Leicester beat Tottenham 3-2 and West Ham beat Arsenal 2-1. Well, let's see how that's affected the top of the Premiership. Leeds are 1 point ahead of Manchester United, Sunderland are 3rd, Chelsea 4th. Rugby and Scotland lost their first World Cup match against the defending champions South Africa. Scotland started well at Murrayfield before the Springboks fought back to win by 46 points to 29. Ben Scotchbrook watched the action.
The first half saw the Scottish underdogs determined and equal to the reigning world champions. And Kenny Logan put the home side ahead after 10 minutes. But occasionally their defences let them down, and South African centre Brendan Venter took advantage and the lead with the first try of the match. That spurred on the Five Nations champions, and Captain Armstrong beat a path to the Springboks try line to give Martin Leslie the chance to score. But the South African stamina came through in the second half, where Scotland looked a different side. Robbie Fleck scored first, and with Scotland's midfield weakened by the loss of John Leslie, a try from Ollie Leroux was swiftly followed by another from Dion Kaiser. A last-ditch effort from Alan Tate raised hopes of a Scottish revival, but another from South Africa was again converted by Yanni de Beer to the sound of the final whistle. Ben Scotchbrook, ITN.
Britain's #1 tennis player, Greg Rosetsky, is £800,000 better off tonight after winning the compact Grand Slam Cup in Munich. Rosetsky took the first 2 sets against Tommy Haas, but the German won the third. A tense tiebreak in the 4th set finally went Rosetsky's way, giving him his first title of the year. Well, that's it from me and all the Weekend News team. Have a very good night.
There you are, you see, don't worry about what you look like, just wear whatever it takes to keep warm. There's some cold weather coming over the next few days, some frost to come even, but until then we've got some more showery weather in the next 24 hours. Through today we've had low pressure to the east, lots of isobars, strong winds and lots of showers too. But it's all changing gradually through tomorrow, and certainly by Tuesday high pressure on the scene, much lighter winds and the sort of weather that makes autumn a favourite time of year for many people. It's going to be dry and bright by day, but cold and frosty at night. As far as the night's concerned, we still have a lot of showers across England and Wales, most of them dying away now. Clearing skies means low temperatures down to just 1 in places. That's low enough for a touch of ground frost, but we'll keep the showers going through the night, I think, around coasts and hills in the west. And then tomorrow, it is a day of sunshine and showers, but really how many showers depends on where you are. If you're sheltered from the north, the high ground will filter out the showers and you'll find staying dry. Southern Scotland, parts of Ireland there, central and southern parts of England, South Wales, all fine and dry tomorrow. Elsewhere though, where the winds are coming in, you'll find the showers, as today, especially in the east, and another chilly day, about 14 at best. Good night.
Power Gen. Power, whatever the weather.
From Weatherfield to the wild, Helen Worth in Africa to release the last of GMTV's 3 big cats to freedom. Rescued from appalling conditions, see Ricky the leopard as he joins Anthea and Raffi, walking on the wild side. Gale as you've never seen her before, tomorrow on GMTV.